Guys, what's going on? It's David here from Scizorxphlosion, and today I'm bringing you guys another Lost Thunder deck profile. This one I'm very excited for. It's one of my favorite decks to come out of Lost Thunder, and it is Alolan Ninetales Decidueye. I have had a thing for Decidueye for quite a while. Back in the day, I played Decidueye ZOROARK, and it was really cool. And as you just saw there, we do have some ZOROARK in this deck. This is my favorite build. A version of this deck got third place at the Latin America International Championship. This is my version of it. I've been working on it for a little bit. I did play Ninetales Decidueye Swampert, and I did like that deck quite a lot, but I feel like ZOROARK's probably the better choice. But, you know, to each their own. Y'all can build your deck however you would like. Y'all be sure to leave a like down below before we get started, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Once we reach 200 subscribers, we're going to be giving away an Elite Trainer box, so you guys stay tuned for that. But without further ado, guys, let's get on to the deck. Oh, by the way, support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Scizorxphlosion. And then you can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Scizorxphlosion. But here we go, guys, with the deck profile, starting out with 3 copies of Alolan Vulpix. This is the Beacon Vulpix. This is the only one I would even consider using. There was a new one that came out in Lost Thunder that has an ability that says if it has any fairy energy attached to it, it has no retreat cost, which is pretty nifty. But I still do prefer the Beacon Vulpix, just because if you're going second, probably your best starting option is Alolan Vulpix, because you can get Vulpix in the active, use Elm's Lecture to get out all your Rowlets and your Zoruas, and then use Beacon and just go for the Pokemon you need. So Beacon Vulpix is probably your best starter going second. Going first, he's still not a bad starter either. So 3 copies of Alolan Vulpix. 2 copies of Alolan Ninetales GX. This is the new GX from Lost Thunder. I love this card. It's so pretty. But anyway, Alolan Ninetales GX is probably one of the most hyped cards in this set. And the reason why is that amazing ability, Mysterious Guidance. It says whenever you play this card from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may search your deck for up to 2 item cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand. This card single-handedly brings Stage 2's back as meta decks. We've seen Alolan Ninetales Gardevoir popping up. This deck, Alolan Ninetales Decidueye, has been popping up at tournaments. This deck got 3rd place at the International Championships down in Sao Paulo. And, I mean, this ability is amazing. Some people, when it was first revealed, they were like, meh, it's okay. No, it's good. It is a really good ability. It's really great. You've also got some good attacks here too. Snowy Wind for Fairy Colorless Energy does 70 damage and then 30 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. You get a little spread damage going, and it synergizes really well with your Decidueyes. And then you've got Sublimation GX, which is great since Bucephalon has become one of the best decks in the format. For Fairy Colorless, if your opponent's active Pokemon is an Ultra Beast, it is knocked out. This is also really good against Buzzwole. Buzzwole Ninetales has also been popping up. Use the Ninetales to search out your Beast Ring. So, yeah, that's still good. And it has synergy with Brooklet Hill as well. So, yeah, Buzzwole Ninetales is going to be around. Ninetales Decidueye is going to be around. Ninetales ZOROARK, Ninetales Gardevoir, Ninetales everything. And now that I've got my Ninetales, I'm going to be experimenting with some other deck builds as well. So 2 copies of Fairy Tales and 1 copy of Water Tales. I've been testing this out in here, and I think it's really cool. You can use your Ice Blade attack. If you even wanted to, you could go for Blizzard Edge, because we do play Rainbow Energy in this deck. But most of the time I go for Ice Blade, just to spread a little more damage on my opponent's bench Pokemon. Snipe the bench, knock out those, you can probably knock out like Ditto, Prism Star, things like that. And then you also still have your Decidueye's ability, Feather Arrow, in order to spread damage onto your opponent's bench as well. And then you've got Ice Path GX, which is another GX option in this deck. You get to move all damage counters from Alolan Ninetales onto your opponent's active Pokemon. Really strong. Just completely heal up your Ninetales and get it fresh and ready to go again. 3 copies of Rowlet. Rowlet is there as your basic for your Decidueyes, so really not much more to say about him. He does have 60 HP, which is nice since it does synergize with Elm's Lecture. And we do play a hefty amount of those in our deck. 3 copies of Decidueye GX. Decidueye GX is an awesome Pokemon, been around for a while since Sun and Moon base set, and it's got some really good things going for it. Feather Arrow is his ability, which is probably the best thing about this card. Once during your turn before you attack, you may put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. Really strong, and that stacks for each Decidueye you have. So potentially you could put up to 6 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon. Really, really strong. You've got Razor Leaf there as a backup option for attacking for a Grass. Double kill this is 90 damage. Choice Band make it do 120, so pretty decent. And then another GX option in this deck is Hollow Hunt GX, to put 3 cards from your discard pile into your hand. 240 HP is pretty bulky. A ZOROARK with a full bench can 2-shot it, but we do place some max potions in here in order to help us alleviate that. Now guys, on to the Zorua line, or ZOROARK line. We play 3 copies of Zorua, 60 HP, so it synergizes with that Elm's Lecture. And then 3 copies of the ZOROARK. ZOROARK is another backup attacker in this deck. Your main attackers are going to be Alolan Ninetales, the fairy version, and then your ZOROARK GX. You've got the trade ability to help increase consistency in this deck. You can discard a card from your hand once per turn to draw 2 cards. Really awesome. And then Riotous Beating for double kill synergy, just 20 damage, times the amount of Pokemon you have in play. So you can hit up to 120, 150 with the Choice Band. We do have access to Trickster in this deck. We really don't use it, though. Most of the time you want to go for Sublimation or you want to go for Hollow Hunt. So you can go for Trickster if you like, but I'd recommend going for one of the other 2. Another tech we have in here is 1 copy of Ditto Prism Star. Ditto Prism Star unfortunately cannot be a Rowlet because we don't play any Dartrix, but you guys can feel free to play a Dartrix or 2 in your deck if you would like to eventually become a Decidueye. But one of my favorite first turn plays is go Elm's Lecture, and if I started like a Vulpix, I'll go for Ditto Prism Star and 2 Rowlets. That way, if they knock out my Vulpix in the active, I can still go for Ninetales in the next turn. Or if I end up getting that evolution off, I can use the Ditto to go into a ZOROARK. So, really, really useful. Almighty Evolution is an amazing ability. Really, really good. It's bad in the mirror match, though, because if they Decidueyes up before you do, it's going down. Just plain and simple, going down. And to end off the Pokemon line, guys, 2 copies of Tapu Lele GX to get those Wonder Tags. We want to get our supporters out first turn. The first turn, ideal first turn play is Elm's Lecture, because you want to be able to start a basic or 2. Well, you have to start a basic or 2, but you'd rather start something like a Rowlet or a Zorua or a Vulpix, and then you want to go for Elm's Lecture and get out your other pieces to your puzzle. So Lele is there just in case we need her. 2 copies of her. And that's it for the Pokemon. On to the supporters, guys. Oh, there's a bad glare right there. It's Tapu Lele, just so y'all know. Tapu Lele, right there. Alright, 4 copies of Cynthia, your basic draw supporter for any Pokemon deck. Shuffle your hand to your deck and draw 6 cards. We play 4 copies of Professor Elm's Lecture because we want it in our first hand. We want it there just to get out our basics and get them started evolving. You'll find when you play this deck, you do play a lot of evolutions, so you'll usually have a lot of different strategies to go for. Maybe you open a ZOROARK in your opening hand, or you open a Ninetales in your opening hand. It just depends on what you open in your hand. That will determine what you grab with Elm's Lecture. So, Elm's Lecture, for those of you who don't know, you can search your deck for 3 Pokemon with 60 or less HP and put them into your hand. So you can even put things like extra Zoruas you don't need and use them as trade fodder later on. So things like that. 2 copies of Guzma. Only the 2 copies because I don't feel you need to Guzma very often in this deck. Just because you're sniping things with your Decidueye and your Ninetales and your other Ninetales. So Guzma, every now and then you'll want to need it. So conserve your Guzma. You do want to conserve your Guzmas for when you really need them. So don't use them as trade fodder unless you absolutely have to. 2 copies of Lily for that other option of drawing, or other first turn option. Most of the time, though, 9 times out of 10, you're going to want to go for Elm's Lecture. But if somehow we don't have access to it and we have Lily in our hand, hey, we'll go for Lily. We got, it lets you draw cards till you have 6 in your hand, and if it's your first turn, you draw till you have 8. And to end out the supporters, 2 copies of Acerola. Acerola is really great for picking up those ZOROARKs or those Ninetales that get damaged. You can use them on your Decidueyes, but you do play a limited number of rare candies in this deck, so you can Hollow Hunt back for them if you really needed to. But Acerola is just there to help you heal your Pokemon. Prize denial is very, very, very important. And that's it for the supporters, guys. On to our items. We got 4 copies of Ultra Ball, your standard search for any Pokemon deck. Discard 2 cards from your hand, search a deck for a Pokemon, add it to your hand. This is even more important in this deck just because you can search it out with your Ninetales. All these cards I'm going to be revealed here are all items. They are all searchable with your Ninetales. We play 3 copies of Rare Candy. Only 3 because we do play a 303 line of Decidueye. So, I haven't had any problems with playing just 3. I'm still play testing some more and doing battles and stuff like that. So, I'll let you guys know if I end up keeping the 3 rare candies or bumping it up to 4. Who knows? So, still experimenting with other builds, but so far this is the build I really like. 2 copies of Max Potion. Max Potion's there mainly for your Decidueyes, but you can use them on any of your other Pokemon. You can heal all damage from a single Pokemon, but you must discard all energies attached to it. So your Decidueyes usually just camp out on the bench, sniping things from there, but your opponent may try to Guzma them and try to put some hefty damage on them. That's what Max Potion is here for. If you don't have it in your hand, search it out with your Ninetales. Pretty awesome play. Now we got a lot of 1-ofs in this deck that we play as items. Just some little techie cards. We've got 1 copy of Timer Ball to get those evolutions into our hand. Flip 2 coins for each hit, search a deck for an evolution Pokemon and add it to your hand. 1 copy of Enhanced Hammer. Let you discard special energy from one of your opponent's Pokemon. Really good against those ZOROARK decks. I have even considered upping this to 2. But for now, 1 is where we are sitting at. 1 copy of Switch. Switch has been really good for me in this deck. Your Decidueyes have a retreat cost of 2. Your ZOROARKs have a retreat cost of 2. Your Ninetales Fairy form has a retreat cost of 2. And you do play very little energy in this deck, so conserving your energies where you can is really a good idea. So Switch and Guzma are there to help you switch your Pokemon in and out of the game. 1 copy of Counter Catcher, because sometimes you do start on the back foot in this deck. You do have to evolve your Pokemon in order to get them started. If your opponent gets a really good start, they start KOing your Rowlets or your Zoruas or something. Counter Catcher can be there to let you grab those Pokemon from your opponent's bench that you want since you are behind in prizes. So 1 copy of Counter Catcher. 1 copy of Choice Band to hit that little bit of extra damage every now and then. Let you hit 30 more damage on EX and GX Pokemon. 1 copy of Counter Gain. This is here mainly for your Fairy Ninetales. It's a Pokemon tool that says if your opponent has more prizes remaining... if you have more prizes remaining than your opponent, the Pokemon this card's attached to attacks cost colorless less. So you can attack with Fairy Ninetales for a single Fairy energy. Pretty awesome. And the last item card we run, guys, is 1 copy of Rescue Stretcher. Just to get those Pokemon back that we may discard with trade or may get knocked out. Like I said, early game, you may start on the back foot, so they may start KOing your Rowlets or your your Vulpix or your Zoruas. Get them back with Rescue Stretcher and get your evolutions down. And to end off the deck, guys, with energies, we play 3 copies of Rainbow Energy. These provide energy of any color, but you must put a damage counter on the Pokemon you attach it to from the hand. So you can use it with your Fairy Ninetales. You can use it with your Rowlets, so you can use Hollow Hunt or Razor Leaf. As I mentioned before, you could use it on your ZOROARK GXs to use Trickster GX, but really, there's only 3 in the deck, and you're going to have to play 2 from your hand, and hoping your opponent doesn't have an Enhanced Hammer is kind of a rough play. And I guess we also do have access to Tapu Cure GX if we really needed to, which could come in handy if they get some high damage on our Ninetales or maybe like 2 of our Decidueyes or something like that. 2 copies of Basic Fairy Energy, and then 4 copies of Double Colorless Energy. These come in handy with your Water Ninetales and also with your Fairy Ninetales. Mainly Zoroark's going to be using these to attack, and your Decidueyes will use the Double Colorless Energy to attack with their Razor Leaf. But that's it, guys. That is the deck profile. I really enjoy this deck. It's really fun to play, and I see it being one of the top decks in the meta. Spread is really great, and when you're spreading with these big GXs like Decidueye, like Ninetales, it can be very potent and very hard on your opponent. Fairy Ninetales is probably one of the best things to come out of Lost Thunder. And if you guys haven't tried it out or even playtested it, I would definitely recommend it. Ninetales is so much fun to play with. But enough for me rambling, guys. I want to know what you guys think. Let us know in the comment section below what you think about Fairy Ninetales or just Ninetales Decidueye in general. Do you think that this is a really good deck? Do you think it's too complicated to play? Let me know what you guys think. Be sure and like and comment down below. This is David from Scizorxphlosion, and we'll catch you guys all next time.